Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and this is the show where we talk about the things that we love, movies and movie news, TV and streaming, and all that good stuff. Joining me in studio today is our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
Hello, everybody.
Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer-Burnett.
Good afternoon, everybody.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show a part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a number of predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, that's the most important part. That's when we take your live comments and questions. If you guys have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or an issue you'd like us to address, go ahead and fire it on into our super chat feature in the live chat. You got to be watching live in order to use the super chat feature, obviously. And as long as we deem your question appropriate to be addressed on the show, we'll address it in the second part of the show. All right, guys. Got to indulge me for a second.
Uh-oh.
Want to share something with you here. There's a new little one in the house over there. We've been wanting, and Anne's mom's been wanting to get a dog for a little while. And Anne goes and volunteers over at the animal shelter, and they thought they found a dog. And so yesterday, Anne and her mom went to meet the dog, and Anne's mom fell in love with the dog. Little puppy that was found behind a dumpster, not far from here. Scared little thing. So they got him ready, and Anne's mom's at work right now. So Anne and I went to go pick up this little guy today. I want to show this to you. This is us this morning. See if I can get this to play. There it is. Look at this little guy. He looks a lot like Dune, except Dune's got the two different color eyes like a husky does. He was very scared. He's like very, very nervous, very, very scared. But he's just an adorable little guy. So we brought him home this morning, and he takes treats from me and then goes under the kitchen table and just kind of sits under the kitchen table.
Sounds like me.
Until I look at his little face.
He is a sweet little guy, though.
He is a sweet little one. So he's in the other room right now. So anyway, we don't have a name for him yet. I think Anne and her mom and her sister are trying to decide between Rocky, because we got Project Hail Mary coming out, or Milo, because he kind of looks a little bit like a Milo.
He looks like a Milo.
So they're trying to figure it out and what to do with that. Anyway, guys, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about movies and movie news and all sorts of good stuff. So let's get things started, shall we? And what would a John Campea show be without starting off with the Warner Brother acquisition? Now, look, just to give you a little bit of context here. You guys know that when it was first announced that Netflix was going to get into the race to try to get Warner Brothers, I said this would be the worst case scenario if Netflix got them. Now, that was months ago. In that time, though, I have to admit, Ted Sarandos and the folks at Netflix have laid out a very good case about, one, why they want Warner Brothers, and two, why it would be a really good thing for them to get Warner Brothers. And you know what? They've sold it to me. I'm sold. Now, I would still rather Warner Brothers stay just completely independent, but understanding they're going to get purchased, and it just clearly this is in Netflix's best interests. Anyway, one of the big questions that has been surrounding the whole issue is, if Netflix get Warner Brothers, will they still let Warner Brothers do theatrical? To which Ted Sarandos said, why do you think we're spending $70 billion? We're not spending that much money just so we can get a few more movies put on Netflix. We can do that for a lot cheaper. Mm-hmm. We want in the theater business, and we're not equipped for it at Netflix. Warner Brothers is. They've got the personnel. They've got the infrastructure. They've got the infrastructure, I should say. They've got decades of experience. That's why we want in. That's why we want Warner Brothers. So, yeah, he's committed. Warner Brothers movies are going to continue to be put in theaters. And the assumption has been that Netflix would then just continue to put Netflix's movies on Netflix. But maybe not. Because according to a new interview with Ted Sarandos, this has come to us from Bloomberg, Netflix says the Warner Brothers deal would actually increase the number of movies going to theaters. And it's actually going to be Netflix movies. This is what Ted Sarandos said. Ted Sarandos, co-chief executive officer of Netflix Inc., said his company's acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery will lead to more films in theaters, addressing a key complaint from Hollywood in the high-stakes battle for one of the industry's iconic studios. A merger of Netflix and Warner Brothers is better for theaters because Netflix will be able to take its films and put them in cinemas using the distribution network that Warner Brothers has built, Sarandos said Thursday in an interview on Bloomberg TV. It is likely you will have even more of an outcome of high-quality films for the theaters if this deal goes through, he said.
Here comes Red Notice 2, baby.
Oh, my God. Now, I want you to notice, he never said we're going to put all Netflix movies in theaters. Of course not. They should. 90%, 95, 99% of Netflix original movies are pure trash. But they do put out the odd good one here and there. They really do. And the fact that, Rob Sarandos has said before, the thing is, we know nothing about the theater business. That's not what we're built. We're a television company. We're a streaming company. We don't know how to do that. We don't have the infrastructure that Warner Brothers has. We don't have the international networks that Warner Brothers has. We simply do not have the logistics for it. That's not our business. We don't know it, but they do. And hey, if we now are partnered with them, now we have that infrastructure too. We can take what's been a really good Netflix movie. I don't know, K-pop Demon Hunters. We can take K-pop, or we can take The Irishman.
Or Knives Out.
Or we can take a Knives Out.
Yeah.
And now we have our own fully fleshed out international distribution arm. We can actually start putting Netflix films in theaters more. So Sarandos is now going the extra mile and going like, listen, not only is Warner Brothers going to keep having their films in theaters, because that's what's going to make us the most money. Always trust greed, everybody. But now he's saying, we now actually have the avenue and the mechanisms to actually put Netflix films in theaters. So Rob, I mean, listen, he's already sold me, but he continues to make a really good case for this. Anyway, what did you think about the comments he made?
Well, I mean, it's exciting to hear. Like we talked about, Knives Out started out as a very viable, it made $300 million worldwide theatrically. And then they bought it. And then, Glass Onion and Wake Up Dead Man didn't go to theaters.
Yeah.
And
or at least very limitedly.
Yeah, but they could have, if it had a major international release, you would have made at least 300 million, maybe 400 or 500, $500 million you left on the table. I mean, you have two times two. And then those movies are going to go on Netflix anyway.
And be bigger on Netflix than they would have been if you didn't put them in theaters.
100%. I mean, and also, I think theatrically, look, The Wrecking Crew could have gone out theatrically. Warner Brothers could have put a robust marketing budget behind that, and people would have turned out to see it in the theater. It would have been, people would have liked it. So I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think, obviously, I don't think Ted Sarandos is BSing when he says this, because that's why they are buying. That's why they're paying this much money to Warner Brothers. And I like the fact, because it just reinforces the idea, bolsters the idea that he's going to leave Warner Brothers to do its Warner Brothers-ing. They're not going to tear it apart. They're not going to, because like you've pointed out, there's no redundancy there, and they'll have a great pipeline and get great. I mean, look what they would get. Wuthering Heights was Warner Brothers' release last week. It's going to cross $100 million at the global box office this weekend, if not more. And they're going to get that movie. And the 8 movies that Warner Brothers had that opened at #1 last year. I mean, it shows that Warner Brothers is in the theatrical business. They're doing well. They also have great relationships with filmmakers. And that means so will Netflix. So it works out well for everybody.
Yeah.
I think that it's good for the business.
Now, by the way, I just want to remind everybody of this. When this interview came out today, I still heard people saying, like, this is all smoke screen. Sarandos just wants to kill the movie theaters. But as maybe you didn't see the episode where we did the math on this, do you know how much they're spending on getting Warner Brothers? It's 60 or 70 billion. It's in that neighborhood somewhere. 60 to 70 billion dollars. Do you know how much it would cost them to buy all 10 of the biggest movie theater chains in the world? It was around $10 billion less. Like literally, if he really just wanted to kill all the movie theaters, he literally could just buy all the top 10 movie theater exhibitors, including AMC, Regal, Cinemark, you name it. buy them all for around $10 billion. He's not spending an extra $50 billion to just do something that he could do with $10 billion. I mean, he really does see this as a way to make more money. And what I always tell people is this: trust in corporations always doing what's in their own best interests. If you can't trust anything else, trust greed. Trust that corporations will always do what is in their own best interests. And the reality is, Rob, every way you cut this and every way you look at this, what is in the corporation's best interest, Netflix in this case, is to actually take over Warner Brothers and partner with it, let it operate on that market and on that level, because it will increase their business. It's in their own best interest to do this. So I don't know. It's looking better and better, to be honest with you. Although I still wish Warner Brothers just wouldn't sell to anybody.
Right.
Anyway, with that said, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, Ted Sarandos is now saying not only are you going to continue to get all of Warner Brothers films, you're going to start seeing more Netflix films actually put in theaters, because now we have the infrastructure to do it, which we've never had before. It kind of sweetens it a little bit. Anyway, whatever you guys think about this, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to this. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, you might as well call today Trailer Day. So we got a
Trailer talk.
Trailer. Welcome to Trailer Talk, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of trailers that I had, a couple of them I had no idea were coming out today. We're going to talk about two of the ones that I had no idea were even coming out today. First, and the first one we're going to talk about is this. You know, Jason Segel, I've loved him ever since Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I never did watch How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, How I Met Your Mother. And then he was on Freaks and Geeks originally.
Yeah, well, yeah, that goes all the way back
way
to
back.
that. But I never watched that, but it was really, the one that put him on the map was Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And I love his new show, Shrinking. I think it's one of the best things, if not the best thing on TV. And who didn't fall in love with Samara Weaving when everybody thought she was Margot Robbie in the first Ready or Not movie? Everybody thought that was Margot Robbie. I was shocked to find out it wasn't Margot Robbie.
Margot was shocked.
Margot was shocked. It's like, when did I shoot this movie? Well, the two of them have a new trailer for a new movie they got coming out called Over Your Dead Body. And the folks over at the playlist have this Over Your Dead Body trailer. Jason Segel and Samara Weaving take a remote cabin reconnect trip with murder on their mind. They wrote write the following. Let me see if I can make this text a little bit bigger for you guys. There we go. The film stars Jason Segel and Samara Weaving as the couple at the center of the mutual assassination detente, with Timothy Olyphant and Juliette Lewis also starring. The supporting cast includes Paul Guilfoyle and Keith Jardine. Is that mean Keith Jardine, the old UFC fighter?
Oh, I think so, because in the trailer there's this huge
Oh,
guy.
that was
Yeah.
Keith Jardine.
Yeah.
I actually hung out with Keith Jardine. He's a really cool dude. Anyway, rounding out a lineup that suggests the movie's aiming for a sharp blend of tension and punchline cruelty. Some relationships, I'm reading this in reverse order because I want to get the synopsis last. Some relationship retreats are about rebuilding trust. Over Your Dead Body treats the whole premise like a cover story, with the official trailer teasing Jorma Tacones. I hope I'm saying that right. The guy who directed Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping, which I
Yeah.
loved. And MacGruber, which I also loved. A dark action comedy thriller about a dysfunctional couple who head to a remote cabin to supposedly reconnect, but each arrives with the secret plans to kill each other. This trailer is great.
It is great.
I first saw it and I thought, and by the way, the little A24, I believe this one was the one that had the A24 logo on it. Did it not? I thought
Either
it did.
that or Magnolia Pictures. I
Yeah,
can't remember
I
now.
think you're right. I think it's Magnolia had it. And I thought, okay, this is going to be kind of more of a whatever sort of thing, but it's Jason Segel, Samara Weaving. I loved it right from the beginning. Like right from the beginning. And she's like, I found this and this. You were going to kill me. Okay, fine, because you always criticize me. And then by the time the trailer ends, when they're both doing how they would fake it to the police about how heartbroken they are about the other being dead, I can already see how this is kind of going to go. They're going to rediscover their love for each other when they each end up having a mutual threat that they have to take care of or something. I don't know. But I thought this looked great. And it is now, it was not on my radar at all. It is now absolutely on my radar. I can't wait to see this. Anyway, Rob, you saw the trailer for Over Your Dead Body. What did you think of it?
I knew nothing about this movie. You know, I saw the trailer pop up, and I just, you know, anytime a new trailer pops up, I watch trailer. So I, you know, putting this on, it's hilarious. I thought I actually watched this trailer twice. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. It's just the kind of movie that I love, dark comedies like this.
Kind of feels like The Roses a little bit, but more violent.
Yeah, yeah, and mean-spirited.
No,
Yeah.
I thought about The Roses too. I immediately thought about The Roses, but it really does feel like it has its own thing.
Yeah. For sure.
And Timothy Olyphant.
And Timothy Olyphant's in it. I mean, it just got better and better. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about the trailer for Over Your Dead Body with Samara Weaving and Jason Segel? I thought it looked fantastic. I'm really excited to see this film. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Staying on the theme of new trailers, Bob Odenkirk, after the success of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, somehow, some way, kind of transformed himself into an action star with, I think, the absolutely delightful Nobody films, which made with some of the same guys behind the John Wick franchise, because it does really, Nobody feels very much like it's in the John Wick universe. It really does. I think it would be pretty easy to cross those over if you ever wanted to. Well, he continues on, as the same guys behind Nobody and John Wick are also behind this new one, not Nobody, but Normal trailer. Why can't you people just let Bob Odenkirk rest? In director Ben Wheatley's latest, Odenkirk plays a small-town sheriff whose sense of quiet normalcy is upended by a botched bank robbery. Let me see if I can remember where the actual synopsis is. Yeah, here it is. Per the film's official logline, this kinetic neo-Western action film stars Odenkirk as an unassuming substitute sheriff with a troubled past who, after moving to a small, sleepy town, responds to a bank robbery and unknowingly uncovers something far more explosive. For Sheriff Ulysses Odenkirk, his provisional posting to the quaint Midwestern American town of Normal, Minnesota is the actual name of the town, was meant to be a welcome respite from both his marital woes and recent mortal injuries in the line of duty, or moral injuries in the line of duty. But when a botched bank robbery interrupts the municipality's tranquil pace, a dark secret is inadvertently exposed, and Ulysses soon discovers that the town is anything but its namesake. Bum, bum, bum. You know what? File this one exactly under the same category as the trailer we just talked about, Over Your Dead Body. I can't wait to see this. This was another one that was absolutely not on my radar. I mean, I remember I heard about it, completely off the radar. It's got a nice little mix of, what's the one, not Mystery Alaska, not Misery. What's the one that was the movie?
Fargo.
And then, what's that?
Fargo.
It's got a little bit of a sense of Fargo to it.
I was going to say it's like Nobody meets Fargo meets like Hot Fuzz.
It's Nobody meets Fargo.
And Ben Wheatley's a really interesting director. He did like Kill List, and didn't he do High Rise with Tom Hiddleston?
That one, yeah.
J.G. Ballard.
So I'll tell you what, I love this as like $18 million community center. Where'd this town get that money? Oh, everybody really cheaped in. So there's clearly some kind of big underlying secret, whatever.
And Henry Winkler.
and Henry Winkler. But the part that killed me is that I'm watching the trailer. It was bonkers. It was great. I loved it. But then it gets to the end, and it's got this little tag at the end where the Yakuza.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Yakuza.
Yeah.
Which means
ninjas.
That's right.
Which 100% means ninjas, right? I'm like, what? How can you make this even more bonkers? I don't know, but I thought this looked great. And so while I'm still like, Bob Odenkirk is the most unlikely action hero you can possibly have, he worked very well in Nobody, and it looks like he's going to work pretty damn well in Normal. Anyway, Rob, you saw the trailer for Normal. What do you think about it?
I loved it. I mean, I watched, I sat down and watched all these trailers this morning, and it was a potpourri of trailers. And I mean, I thought it'd make a great double feature. These two movies would make a great double feature. And what's not to love, I can't wait.
What do you think about this whole thing that they do about like Bob Odenkirk? Like how is he able to pass himself off so well, like as an action star?
Well, he came out of sketch comedy originally, and I think that there's something about comedians transitioning over into dramatic roles. We saw Robin Williams do it. He was Mork on Mork and Mindy, and then he ended up doing things like The World According to Garp and Good Morning Vietnam, or that was more of a comedy. But still, I really like the energy comedians bring.
Oh, look at Barry.
Yeah,
right?
Barry's
Barry.
a great example. I mean, I like it just and Odenkirk, just his timing, the way he could be deadpan. I mean, going from Breaking Bad to Better Call Saul to Nobody, and I love this progression. I hope they make it. Looks to me like this could be the beginning. I would watch a series about the cop that he looks like he's playing in this trailer.
I wouldn't be surprised. If
I
they
wouldn't be
franchised
surprised
in
if there's
mind.
more, Normal too.
Yeah.
What if they say he is the guy from Nobody who just decided to become a sheriff?
I mean,
in a small, quiet
the
town.
Odenkirk verse.
The Odenkirk.
The Odenverse. Oh, Odenkirk,
By the way,
yeah,
we
you
are
have to say
not
Odenkirk
suggesting that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I just said it would be fun. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Did you see the trailer for Normal? I think it looks fantastic. I can't wait to watch this thing. And what do you think about Bob Odenkirk as an action star? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. Yesterday came two things. Well, really three things when it came to House of the Dragon. Number one, we got a poster, which looked great with a fabulous tagline that says what? Fire brings darkness
Yeah.
or something like that. Great tagline. So we got the poster. We also got a release date for House of the Dragon Season 3, which was going to be in June. But the third thing that we got was the announcement that we were going to get a new trailer, the first trailer for the new season today. And as per the Hollywood Reporter, House of the Dragon goes to war in fiery Season 3 trailer. The HBO fantasy drama returns with the divided House Targaryen going to battle. They wrote the following. The first teaser trailer for the third season of House of the Dragon has arrived. The footage shows members of the divided House Targaryen going into battle with plenty of fiery dragon action. The season's marketing tagline is a rather foreboding, "From fire comes darkness." The season includes a massive battle sequence that was originally planned. You talked about this yesterday, Rob. That was originally planned for the show's second season, but it ended up getting moved to season 3 after the season 2 episode count was reduced to 8 episodes. That was because of external reasons they had to do that. All right. Now look, I love this show. I like it more, I think, than most people because I think everybody loves season 1. Some people were a little iffy on season 2. I loved season 2. I thought, did it have some lower lows than season 1? Yes. But it also had higher highs than season 1, in my opinion. And I absolutely love the second season. I thought it was great. Not quite as good as the first season, but still love it regardless. So I've been excited for season 3. My God. This trailer was amazing.
Yeah, it really was.
Now, again, like anything else, we're just talking about the trailer. It doesn't automatically mean the season's going to be awesome. I understand that. I do. We're just talking about the trailer. But, oh my God. The dragons look more dragony. The assholes look more assholery. Damon looks more damonery. I mean...
Which is a mix of those two you just mentioned.
Which is kind of a mix of those two, yeah. And like, what was that one? Like, she's about to do something she doesn't want to do. When Damon, you just hear the lines. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. She goes, it's like, this is what you're queen for. This is what you're for. Now's the time for you to be whatever. And like, he's talking her into do something horrific and horrible. The scale looks amazing. I just got to tell you, man, like everything, I want more. What's the Sea Lord Targaryen's name again? He's not Targaryen, he's Valerian, but the Sea Serpent? No, is that his name?
Yeah.
I forget his name.
Yeah.
Of course, He's going to be
Cor-
what's that?
Corliss.
Corliss, that's
yeah.
it. Because his wife got smoked in the second season, I mean. So he's filled with rage and anger and pain. And oh my God, I just watched this trailer. I'm like, June cannot get here soon enough, man. He's one of my favorite characters in this show, by the way. I'm just like, this season cannot get here fast enough. I'm so excited. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to watch the trailer for House of the Dragon season 3. What did you think?
I also watched this trailer twice. Look, I'm a huge Thrones fan. I mean, we're in a Thrones assance. You've got Night of the Seven Kingdoms ending, and then we've got this starting up. I never would have thought that we would have had almost 2 concurrent Game of Thrones series, but here we are. And it just looks incredible. Like those effects, the dragons, and look, you give me sailing ships and dragons fighting in the ocean, I'm in. I mean, what's not to love? So, I mean, look at this. Come on. I can't wait to see this.
And the timing. Sunday's the final episode of Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It's getting a lot of people to. It's a great entry point for a lot of people that were like haven't gotten to Game of Thrones yet, don't know about House of the Dragon. They jumped into this. Now they're going to see this. They're probably going to binge House of the. I'm really curious about how House of the Dragon season 1 and 2 do numbers wise leading up, because people are going to get caught up.
Yeah, I want to go back and watch season 2. Actually, why not start from the beginning and watch the whole thing again?
Don't laugh. Actually, Ann and I were thinking about prior, because it's been years.
Yeah.
But we've been thinking about going back and just starting House of the Dragon right from the beginning again, and just doing a full rewatch and leading right up to this. And he's not the sea serpent, he's a sea snake. That's what Corliss is.
Yeah.
I love that shot there that I have up on screen with just the paw print.
Oh,
yeah.
I just remember in season 2, like one of the things that really hit me hard was the whole thing about how everybody, the soldiers and everything, they all understood that once you start dragon warfare, all bets are off.
Right.
It's a nobody wins situation. It's going to equal calamity for everybody. And I love that one episode when the one soldier was like actually there and seeing what happens when dragons get brought into the warfare. And it's like, what are we? What are we even doing here? Like, it was just so powerful. And then that shot you just brought up, Jonathan, with the giant, they're standing just in the giant footprint. Oh my God. I cannot wait. Cannot wait for this. The trailer was fantastic. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about this first trailer for House of the Dragon season 3? I think it looks fantastic. Maybe some of you guys are still skeptical. That's fair. Whatever you guys thought about it, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, it caught some people, nearly everybody, by surprise when not long ago, we heard whispers of a Ben Solo movie. Adam Driver actually came out and said, we were working on a Hunt for Ben Solo movie for 2 years, but Disney turned it down. Well, then we found out that Steven Soderbergh was the guy behind it, and he was actually going to direct it. Well, now Soderbergh is coming out expressing a lot of frustration that this movie didn't happen. This comes from the folks at Variety, writing that Disney axed Star Wars sequel, The Hunt for Ben Solo, without even asking about the budget or other details, says Soderbergh. It's insane, and we were all frustrated. Goes on to write this. Steven Soderbergh is continuing to be open about his Adam Driver starring scrapped Star Wars movie, The Hunt for Ben Solo. In a new interview with BK Magazine, the Oscar-winning filmmaker said, it was no surprise to read Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm exit interview and hear about her frustrations over Disney axing The Rise of Skywalker, a follow-up movie which would have brought Driver back as the fan favorite Kylo Ren / Ben Solo. We were all frustrated, Soderbergh said. You know, that was 2.5 years of free work for me and Adam and writer Rebecca Blunt. When Adam and I discussed him talking about it publicly, I said, look, Do not editorialize or speculate about the why. Just say what happened because all we know is what happened. The stated reason was, we don't think Ben Solo could be alive. And that was all we were told. And so there was nothing to talk about, except move on. Now it goes on to say this. I kind of made the movie in my head, and it just felt bad that nobody else was going to see it. The director continued, I thought the conversation was strictly going to be a practical one. Where they go, what is this going to cost? And I had a really good answer for that. But it never even got to that point. It's insane. We're all very disappointed. All right. One little caveat I should throw in here first, because I know there's probably a lot of people who raise an eyebrow going, they made them work on this for 2 years without paying them anything. That's because Disney never asked them to do it.
Yeah.
This was something they undertook on their own, that they wanted to do, put it all together, and then came to Disney and pitched it. And apparently Kathleen Kennedy was going to greenlight it. She was behind it. She was all for it. But Disney stepped in and said no. Didn't even ask about the budget. Didn't ask about how they're going to do it, whatever. They simply said, we don't believe Ben Solo would be alive. And then killed it right there. And I'm going to tell you what. Thank God. I'll say it. Thank God. It was the right decision to kill this. I don't care how good it would have been. Putting out any movie. This is why I question the sanity and why I don't believe this new Rey movie is actually going to happen. Because Disney execs, I believe, understand more than the Lucasfilm execs understood. You need to get the sequel trilogy behind you. And every bit as much as they need to get the vomit-inducing prequel franchise behind them, they need to get the sequel series behind them. Because while they made a lot of money, they do. I'm not pretending they didn't. They also caused a lot of strife and division in the fan community. Ending up, and even somebody like me who's a big Star Wars defender, watching The Rise of Skywalker and going, this is one of the most putrid things I've ever seen. They need to get out of sight, out of mind. Don't retcon it, but don't talk about it. Just move on. And I think when Disney... I don't know. That might have been the last thing when they realized Kathleen Kennedy's going to greenlight what? All right, now we really got to move on. It's like, no. This is one of those great examples where studio interference is a good thing. Now, listen, I love Adam Driver, and I like the Ben Solo character. But trying to continue on the movies that were known as the sequel trilogy is folly. It's absolute misguided folly. You need to move on. It's not Adam Driver's fault. It's not, why am I freezing on the girl who plays Rey?
Daisy Ridley.
It's not Daisy Ridley's fault. It just is what it is. And God bless Steven Soderbergh for putting together a fan film idea and, getting a meeting with some people to see if he could make it work. That's great. But it would have been an absolutely idiotic, just as I think it's an idiotic idea for them to try to do a Rey movie. And I like the Rey character, and I really like Daisy Ridley. And even I will tell you it's a stupid idea to try to do another Rey movie. It's a stupid idea to try to bring back Ben Solo. Not Adam Driver's fault, but it is what it is. And listen, I understand the frustration. I also have worked on some stuff for a year or two that ultimately had it go nowhere. That's frustrating. Everybody who works in Hollywood has had something like that happen. Mm-hmm. But this was the right decision to not let this happen. They're trying to move on. We've got a Starfighter movie coming now. The first opportunity for Star Wars truly to move on. And I think it would just be dragged down if they actually pursued this Rey thing or pursued a Ben Solo thing. As much as I like the characters, as much as I like the actors who play them, this would have been a dumb idea, Rob. Anyway, you read this interview. What did you take away from it?
Well, like what you were saying, I mean, they just kind of decided in their own minds to do it. And because, look, this is why you can't, I always meet filmmakers, young filmmakers that come to me and say, I'm going to write a script about my favorite franchise, and I'm like, look, don't do that. Write an original screenplay. It doesn't behoove you to put any time and money and effort into trying to create something that somebody else already owns. Like to do a Star Wars, to write a Star Wars script on spec or develop a Star Wars project on spec is pure folly. And Soderbergh knew this. So did Adam Driver, and so did the woman who was writing the script for them. I mean, this was a long shot vanity project, and you can't get mad. I love Steven Soderbergh. He's one of my favorite filmmakers. I mean, I can't wait to see Ocean's 14. All the way back to Sex, Lies, and Videotape, I've been a fan of his. But he knows better than this, and to have any indignation about it seems a little silly to me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who's gonna greenlight this?
Mm-hmm. It seems very. I don't want to, like. Obviously, he's a professional.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, I hate to say this, but it seemed very amateurish.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that from where I'm coming from, but it just did.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. I don't know why, you know.
I think about that scene in Empire Strikes Back where Han Solo comes out and he's like, they never even asked me any questions.
Right.
I can see Soderbergh coming out. They're like, they never even asked me the budget.
Yeah, because the folks at Disney knew it doesn't matter what the budget is. We're never going to get Star Wars on the road to recovery if we just keep picking at the scab of the sequel trilogy.
Although I will say this, I would love to see Steven Soderbergh direct a Star Wars movie.
Yes.
That's the one fascinating thing about
the characterization he would bring. I mean,
Yeah.
Can you imagine like an Ocean's 11 set in the Star Wars universe with the kind of new characters that
I would love it.
I mean, that would be something really worth seeing.
I guarantee you, if Steven Soderbergh went to them with an original idea, they would absolutely take the meeting.
Sure.
100% they'd take the meeting. But yeah, this one, and it concerns me. It just really reemphasizes to me how badly Kathleen Kennedy needed to go. The fact that she was so blinded to think that, oh yeah, this is a great idea. Fans will love this. No, they won't, Kathleen. And thank goodness Disney stepped in. It is concerning to me, though, to also read in the article that Dave Filoni and
John Favreau?
Lin-Wen,
Lin-Wen
Brennan, his co-president of Lucasfilm. It's concerning to me that those two were also going to greenlight this.
That was a little scary.
And like, that's not good. So Disney absolutely did the right thing to kill
Unless
this
the
thing.
script was really great,
I'm guessing
which I would imagine
it.
probably was.
But you know what? Even if the script read great,
Yeah, I know.
you cannot move on. You know what it's like? It's like trying to date a new girl when your ex-girlfriend is still your roommate. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. Your new relationship is not gonna make progress as long as your ex is still in the other bedroom. It ain't gonna happen. So yeah, it was the right move by Disney. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Steven Spielberg, listen, I get the frustration. He worked on this for years. He really thought it was going to happen. He's saying it was really frustrating that they didn't get to make The Hunt for Ben Solo. But I think saner minds prevail, because this would have been lunacy to do this, I think, and damning the Star Wars property, setting them back 10 more years in trying to recover. Anyway, whatever you guys think about this, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still have another trailer to talk about. They dropped the Toy Story 5 trailer today, and I think it shocked a lot of people. Also, the first reactions are now starting to trickle in for Project Hail Mary, and it's already sounding like a Best Picture contender.
That's what I've been saying.
We're going to talk about those things and a couple of things more, but before we do, we're going to take a quick second to thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at Factor. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Factor. Cold days, packed schedules, and let's be honest, when February hits, staying on track with eating well gets tough. And that's why I love Factor. Factor makes eating healthy deliciously easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs so you can eat well without the planning, shopping, or cooking. One of my main go-to meals lately is their high protein options. You're getting quality functional ingredients like lean proteins, colorful vegetables, whole foods, and healthy fats. Plus, they have over 100 rotating weekly meals, including Calorie Smart, Mediterranean, GLP-1 support, ready-to-eat salads, and even their new Muscle Pro collection for strength and recovery. Everything arrives fresh, never frozen, and is ready in about 2 minutes. All that and more is why I highly recommend Factor. Head to factormeals.com/Campea50off and use the code Campea50off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. Eat like a pro this month with Factor. New subscribers only, varies by plan. One free breakfast item per box for 1 year while subscription is active. And thank you to our friends at Factor for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on and talk about this, shall we? You've got a friend in me. Indeed, Toy Story 5 has now dropped their first trailer. And while I understand there have been a lot of people skeptical, a lot of people questioning whether they should even make a Toy Story 5 after how great Toy Story 4 ended everything. But remember, when they were announced, Toy Story 2 said, you're just going to ruin Toy Story. And then they did Toy Story 2, which was amazing and glorious, one of the greatest films ever made. Then they announced Toy Story 3, and everybody was like, why are you doing another one? You're running this into the ground. You're overdoing it. Toy Story 2 ended perfectly. And Toy Story 3 just ended up being the best film of the franchise. Got nominated, only the third animated film in cinematic history to be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. So they did number 3. Then they announced number 4. And once again, everybody said, oh, why are you doing number 4? Why are you going back? You're going to ruin it, blah, blah. Number 4, while I don't think as good as number 3, 94% audience rating, 96% critic rating, and made over $1 billion at the box office. And then they announced number 5. And everybody said, but why are you doing a 5th one? Number 4 ended it up perfectly. Like Woody moved on and blah, blah. Same thing. This is a broken record. We've done this dance 1,000 times before. What was the franchise says this has all happened before, it'll all happen again?
Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, yes, that's right. How did I forget that? It's happened before, it'll happen again. And it on and on and on. So there have been a lot of people who have been skeptical about Toy Story 5. And listen, even I was like, hey, who knows? Who knows how it's going to be? But as far as I'm concerned, they've killed it every time. So until they drop the ball, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Because they have always delivered when it comes to Toy Story. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. According to Variety, brand new trailer drops today. Toy Story 5 trailer, Woody and Buzz reunite to save kids from technology devices. Woo. And listen, we all kind of knew going in that the kind of overall premise of this one was the idea of traditional toys now versus the technology toys. And that was going to kind of be the setup, which is a perfect theme for this, which is why they said they greenlit it to do it. So they came up with this excellent idea that they thought had depth and meaning to it, and they're going to try it. And you know what, Rob? I don't have kids. So my opinion on child raising is completely irrelevant. But that's never stopped me from giving my opinion anyway. There's a line in this trailer that literally made me reach for the mouse and press pause on the trailer. And it's when, what's the cowgirl's name again?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I can't remember the cowgirl's name. Anyway.
Cowgirl.
So Jessie was her name. Preet in the live chat was the first one to give us the right name. Jessie goes up to the little iPad-like toy. I think it was a Lily Pad. Is that what it was called?
Yes.
And says, hey, we've been trying to get their kid's name to play with other kids. And you're just making her stay inside and staring at you. And then that hit me, and the trailer kept going. And I eventually reached over and hit pause on the trailer. And the truth of that statement really hit me. And I thought, if they can make this movie as profound as that line just felt, because really think about when I was a kid, yes, I would play with toys by myself, but it was also the best when my other friends brought over their Transformers or GoBots or whatever, and we get to play with our toys together. Or they'd bring their toys over, I'd bring my things over there, or whatever, and they actually encourage social interaction. Today, Ann and I play a little game. Honest, this is true. Play a little game. We go into a restaurant. At some point, we'll look around, and inevitably, we'll find a table in a restaurant with a couple of couples or a group of friends, and they're not talking to each other. They're all doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all do it, but it's especially true of kids. Our friends have a kid, and it's like the whole time we were over there, she had like her own iPad-like device. It might have been a Kindle, whatever. And just the whole time, just planted firmly in that thing, not interacting, not socializing, whatever. Now that just happened to be her time of day. Our friends are really good parents. They actually schedule when she's allowed to be on the thing and not. That being said, I just remember this whole thing about how the toys throughout all of Toy Story, while sometimes they have to fight to save themselves and all kind of thing, their number one concern is their kid. Whether it was Andy or whether it was blah, 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 the name of the new kid, the new girl, keep forgetting her name. Their number one priority is always the kid. What makes Andy happy? What makes Bonnie what makes Bonnie happy? And what's best for Andy? And what's best for Bonnie? And when Jesse says that, I was like, we've been trying to get her to play with other kids and blah, blah. And the technology is like actually isolating the child. I thought in just that one little simple line, I found that to be so profound. And I'm like, if this is what Toy Story does, and let's face it, that's what Toy Story always does. They find that thread of something that's really deep and profound, and they explore it when it relates to the idea of childhood and how we as adults view it. I'm like, yeah, this trailer works. But I'll be honest with you, Rob. When I watched the trailer and I was completely moved by it and I thought it looked great, I still thought in the back of my head, nobody else is going to like this. But to my surprise, I've been looking at the reactions around and everybody seems to agree. This is a really good trailer. Again, doesn't mean automatically that the movie's going to be great. It doesn't mean that at all. But the trailer is really, really quite good. And I was surprised to find myself how excited I was to get back into that room and see the toys again. And I also love Woody's bald spot. I don't care. I love Woody's bald spot. And hearing Rex going, extinction again. Like just the little lines and the cuteness and the adorable of it with something really profound at the same time. So I personally loved it. I really did. Rob, you and I have not talked about this at all, but you saw the Toy Story 5 trailer. What did you think about it?
I was really surprised by it too. I thought the trailer looked great, but like you were pointing out, I mean, I think about this a lot because a lot of the Toy Story films have been about that transition. Are you outgrowing your toys? How are you going to be when you grow up? What does it all mean? I mean, that's definitely an underlying to all the movies. And it looks like, to add the technology and the pad and the screens, one of the things I think is such a strange thing about today, and I see this because Elizabeth's two daughters, I've been with them half their lives, that when we were kids, John, as you pointed out, we went out and did things. Like nobody stayed home. If you're staying home, you could still play a video game or something, but they weren't that sophisticated when I was a kid. They didn't hold you certainly didn't have Ghost of Tsushima or Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
So video games were not as compelling as they are now. They didn't have like MMORPGs or whatever. And you learn things when you were out with your friends. You went and rode your bikes places. You went into the woods. You played army. And there was a whole different set of circumstances and things that you were, your parents would tell you to come back home when the lights came on or when the sun went
When the
down.
street lights come on, that's when you had to come home.
You were out and you were navigating the world with your friends. No one was telling you had your own secret life. Nobody was telling you what to do. And nowadays, I feel like they're no longer LIVIN. They're just at home doom scrolling or playing video games. and they're kind of in their own heads. But I think people have really missed out on life in a way, and that seems to be what this movie is addressing. You know, how childhood has totally changed. And the fact is, the thing about the toys is they represent imagination. You know, they represent a child having, first of all, the toys coming to life is an imaginative idea. But this idea that to play is to be engaged and using your imagination, your creativity, but to be staring at a screen is not. So they're once again, they're addressing it from a different angle. And I'm excited to see where they take it.
By the way, one of our viewers in the live chat, Adam Hayes, wrote something in here that I thought is actually really interesting. This is a very present issue with Spain and Australia passing laws restricting minors on social media. Now, I don't think those countries are restricting or passing laws to restrict social media for minors to get them to go outside and play more.
Yeah.
It's other, the dangers of social media is more part, but it's true. And the whole idea of like, technology can be such a great way. Like I still remember the origins of Facebook. It was a great way to stay connected to people.
Right.
Especially for me, I moved out of, Ontario, and I lived in Saskatchewan for a while. That was like 1,000 miles away. It's like social media and stuff like that was a great way to stay connected, but ultimately it evolved into such a thing that now it's something that keeps us isolated, and especially with children. And I think this is a really interesting thing. A buddy of mine had his first daughter, and I remember him wrestling with the idea of, when I was a kid, I had one or two toys and they were the center of my world. And I'm worried about now giving my kid tons of toys because then none of them might become special to them, and wrestling with that. And that was just before like iPads started coming out. And it's like, now that question would be intent, because I think iPads can be great for kids, educational, get them adapted and become natural using technology. I think there is great stuff with that. And for an hour to keep them occupied. I think there's absolutely great uses for it. But at the same time, again, as somebody who's not a parent, I don't have a valid opinion, but the idea of still making sure they actually have real toys and ways and avenues to interact with other kids and to be social. Anyway, this is getting into stuff that's way beyond my pay grade. I just want to say I love the trailer. I thought it was great. So question is for you guys. Did you see the Toy Story 5 trailer? If so, what did you think? Maybe it didn't move the needle for you, or maybe you like me and it was like really quite impressive. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, as all you guys know, one of our most anticipated movies of the year around here is Project Hail Mary. Rob's been beating this drum long before I ever read the book or saw the first trailer. And then, of course, we were at CinemaCon last year and they showed us the big full presentation for it.
I wet myself.
Oh my God, my jaw was in my lap and I turned to Rob. I'm like, this is what you've been talking about. And then that prompted me to get the book and read the book, and been super excited for it. But listen, taking a book and adapting it is no small feat. And how do you take, I asked you this question on the show, Rob, how do you take a story like Project Hail Mary, written by the same guy, and just tell it all in 2.5 hours? Can you do it? Now, they got Lord Miller, big check. They got Ryan Gosling, good Canadian kid, big check. And the trailers, I think, have looked good. I mean, at least the more recent trailers will look great. The first one they put out was a little questionable, but after that became great. Well, now they've actually started holding some screenings. And the response and the reactions that we've heard so far are calling it a Best Picture contender already.
I was the first, by the way, to say that.
But you haven't seen it.
Well, you haven't seen the film.
No, but
that doesn't count, Rob.
Rob
That
read the
doesn't
book.
count.
Rob read the book and he's like, this is Best Picture right here.
I did. I said I'm all in.
Yeah.
So, breaking out of the interdimensional door universe of Wonder Man, Josh Gad got on social media, took a picture of being at his screening. And Josh Gad, look at that, our buddy Kyle Newman liked it already. Josh Gad said this about Project Hail Mary. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the first masterpiece of 2026. I don't know how the hell they did it, but Phil Lord and Chris Miller and Drew Goddard, along with Amy Pascal and Rachel O'Connor, have delivered a perfect adaptation of a book I thought was impossible to adapt. The novel by Andy Weir is one of my all-time favorites, and the movie somehow matches it pound for pound. See this Amazon movie on the biggest screen possible. Ryan Gosling has never been better. I cannot wait to see this movie again. It will restore your faith in humanity and the power of love and courage. Now, this was the first thing I heard. And Rob sent this to us this morning. He texted this to us this morning. So I got that in my text messages. So then I come into my office earlier this morning and I sit down and I go into my email and I've got a producer friend of mine who is at one of these screenings. And I won't say who it is. I will tell you they are in no way connected to the movie. But they wrote this to me. John. Project Hail Mary is everything you hope it is. It's positively glorious, heartfelt, moving in ways I can't even describe, and very funny. It's our first legitimate Best Picture contender of the year. Let me read again. By the way, I know this guy's not read the book. I know he hasn't read the book. John. Project Hail Mary is everything you hope it is. It's positively glorious, heartfelt, moving in ways I can't even describe, and very funny. It's our first legitimate Best Picture contender of the year. Now, apparently, I just assumed he must have been at the same screening Josh Gad was at, but apparently there were actually a couple of screenings of it.
Yeah.
And the whispers we continue to hear are people are saying, what the hell? How did this turn out so good? Which, again, I have not seen it myself. Maybe I'll hate the film. But you guys know I'm excited about it. And this sounds good. Rob, fist my bump. You're hearing
Fist my
these
bump.
responses and reactions coming out of it. What's standing out to you?
Well, first of all, Drew Goddard, who adapted Andy Weir's The Martian,
Which is so good.
he also adapted Project Hail Mary. So when I had first heard that, I'm like, okay. And Lord and Miller, obviously they did 21 and 22 Jump Street. They were fired off of Solo 80% of the way in, but they're also responsible for the Into the Spider-Verse movies. The thing about Project Hail Mary is you need a deft touch because the book was also, it's very humanistic. It's a lot of fun. It's very adventurous. It is very funny, but on the other hand, it's about the end of the world. And you go back and forth between Earth and what's going on with Grace, Ryland Grace in the book,
And time jumping.
and then and time jumping, and then also you have to convince an audience that basically a living rock form is alive and real. It's the same thing that Spielberg was dealing with when he made E.T. And if they pull this off, and they didn't generate, it's a practical puppet, it's not CG. That's a tough thing to do, but if you get it right, which it was obvious to me, John, at CinemaCon, we saw that at like 8 minutes they showed us. I'm like, oh, this was completely,
They got it.
They got it from top to bottom. And this is what happens when you get smart people at every level. You've got a screenwriter in Drew Goddard, you've got Lord Miller making this. There's a reason Ryan Gosling, I interviewed his stylist. Ryan Gosling has a guy that styles him. He's on for Designing Hollywood. And I remember because it was right before he was going to leave to go do the movie. And he was surprised. I go, you don't know. You're in for a treat. I think what you guys are going to do, you're going to make some magic. And he's like, do you think so? I go, you'll see. And I haven't talked to him since then, but it's amazing. It's everything that I'd hoped. When you have a favorite book and somebody's going to adapt it, you hope that it all goes well like this. And to me, this is what Hollywood does best. And what I also love about it is it's Amazon. They've acquired MGM. It's their third film in a row this year, following on the heels of Crime 101 and Mercy. But this is their sort of coming out ceremony. They're planting their flag. We can make big budget movies as well as anybody. And I'm really, really, I can't wait to see this movie.
Yeah, and this, you bring up Amazon. This really, last year at CinemaCon was kind of their coming out party, where it was their first time as an actual presenter at CinemaCon, because they were going full-fledged cinematic and theatrical, and they showed a great slate of films they had coming. But obviously their crown jewel was Project Hail Mary. This was clearly their crown jewel.
We're 1 month out.
And what a way to come out if you're Amazon. I mean, they already got Crime 101, which is a really good, solid film. But now they've got this thing coming, and I got my tickets. What do we got our tickets for? The 13th?
The 13th.
March 13th.
And Lord Miller dropped a video today, and they show all the different formats. They go to different theaters to show how it's going to come out. This is 15 perf 70 millimeter. So this is true. They Greg Fraser, who shot Dune, and he did the same process where, even though it was shot on the large sensor digital IMAX cameras, he passed it through, so there's a celluloid version of it. So I can't wait to see how this movie looks. I bet it looks absolutely spectacular.
Guys, question is for you. The first few reactions, I've started to trickle out. It's just a couple of them. It's not the, media embargo, social reaction thing lift. I'm sure that's going to come in the coming days. But the first words we're hearing out of it are words like perfect, masterpiece, early best picture contender, all this the stuff we want to hear. Do you think that's going to translate? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to bid good afternoon to writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett. Great job as always, my friend. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes, you will.
All right, guys. With that all down, let's get over to your questions. Just so you know, we did turn off the super chats. We had enough of them come in, so they are turned off now. If you've got a super chat you really want to send in, just wait till tomorrow and send them on in when we have the super chats open again. So with that said, Jonathan, what we got up first?
Christopher says, when I said Chris Evans had 3 sets of directors for Cap yesterday, it included Joss Whedon from the first Avengers film, since Cap was one of the leads. That makes sense. We were just thinking about
but it wasn't a Captain America film.
Right.
So yeah, so he had Joss Whedon,
the Russos,
and the guy who directed Johnston. Joe Johnston?
I think so.
Who directed Captain America, the First Avenger.
Right.
So, yeah. But I don't think you can count Joss Whedon, because that was an Avengers movie, not a Captain America movie. But I see what you're saying. All right, what's next?
And we got Luis, who says, what's a movie you didn't like at first but ended up loving on a rewatch?
The only one I can really think of was, and I've told the story before, but was Inglourious Bastards.
Mm-hmm.
Which is now actually my all-time second favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. I don't know what it was. I saw the movie and I hated it.
It's my favorite Tarantino movie.
And then like a year later, like I was hanging out with this girl and she wanted to watch it. So like, okay, well, sure. I mean, it sucks, but if the girl wants to watch it, you watch it. And we watched it again. I'm like, was I just in a really bad mood? Because this movie's awesome. And I thought, but that's the only movie I can really think of. Do you have one that you hated at first and then grew to love? The only one I can really think of is Inglourious. But what about you?
I'm sure there's some others. Off the top of my head, I didn't necessarily hate it, but I was like, whatever. It was Dumb and Dumber. And now it's like one of my, like most people, it's one of my all-time favorite comedies.
I love Dumb and
But for some reason, the first time I watched it, I'm like, it just feels so on the nose. I don't get, like, what's so... Then again, it must have been a mental state. Then I watched it again. I was laughing at things that weren't like happening in the background. I loved it so much.
Oh, it's so fun.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Christopher says, Mandalorian, Grogu, House of Dragons, and now Toy Story 5. This really is a trailer week. Trailer day,
Over
man.
Your Dead Body and Normal. And yeah, and apparently I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but I had my buddy of mine texted me just a couple of minutes after we started the show. Apparently there's a new trailer for a Brendan Fraser movie.
Yes.
Like a World War I or World War II Brendan Fraser movie that I have not watched
it
yet.
Today. It's called like Pressure or something like that.
Pressure is what it's called.
It's about planning for the landing of D-Day.
Okay. Yep. I haven't seen that one yet. So there was another trailer that came out.
I believe he plays Eisenhower.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. What's next?
Abraham says, after that Toy Story 5 trailer, I now will be seated on Thursday, June 18th on the 6:30 showing of the movie in a Dolby screen.
I,
Well, there's a ticket
listen,
sold.
man, I remember the very first day that they announced they're doing Toy Story 5. And I said in that very first video when they announced Toy Story 5, I just talked about, it's like, look, could this one finally be the one where they crap the bed? Sure. But until they crap the bed, Toy Story is going to get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And they should. They've earned it. And I said, who knows? Maybe 5 will be the one that finally craps the bed. But until they crap the bed, you got to give it the benefit of the doubt. After every Toy Story movie, all the naysayers say, don't do another one, you'll ruin it. And they do another one, and they don't ruin it. Then they say, now don't do another one, you ruin it. And they do another one, and they just keep building on the great legacy of Toy Story. And this, listen, it's just a trailer. It's just a trailer. But it kind of looks like they're going to keep that legacy going, man. This looks really good. So anyway, we'll see how it turns out to be. All right, what's next?
Anthony says, man, I hope Woody gets a paint job in this film.
It's got that bald spot.
It's kind of funny.
Got that bald spot.
Then John Redcorn says, have you seen Goat yet? It's surprisingly delightful.
I got to admit, I'm not interested in Goat. But to your point, I have heard it's pretty good. I just got to admit, it just doesn't really appeal to me at all. That's all. All right, what's next?
We got Dragoons. Happy to learn that Sir John Campea has pledged loyalty to one of the most esteemed houses of our goddess Blonde Blazer. Sad that many expected her to be the female Homelander, but not I.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people seem surprised because, you know, at some point in Dispatch, the game, you got to choose. Do I want to get down with Invisible Girl or do I want to get down with Blonde Blazer? And I just like the way the Blonde Blazer thing was playing out more. So I went that way. But apparently almost everybody chooses to go the story direction of the Invisible Girl, which is odd news to me. But yeah, I really do like the character. I think the character is great. All right, what's next?
Dr. Doom says, we're getting holiday teasers by RDJ for promo for Doomsday. I can't wait to see what he has in mind for March and screen theme of it all.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
I don't know. Is there something announced or
did
someone
Robert Downey Jr. do some sort of promotional thing?
I have no idea.
I'll have to go and look because I'm not aware of it if it is, but I'll have to go keep my eyes open for that.
Yeah, someone in the chat knows. Let us know. Arturo, at first I was skeptical on Toy Story 5, but after the trailer, I'm game. Balding Woody is returning in Avengers Doomsday.
Listen, that's the thing. Just before the show started, I started reading a bunch of reactions to it, and that was a sentiment echoed by a lot of people. It's like, you know what? I wasn't so sure about this Toy Story 5 thing, but count me in after watching the trailer. That's the sign of a really good trailer, is when you take people who were doubting it and turn them into people who are now excited about it. And it seems like that's what this trailer did. All right, what's next?
DJ Infos has a two-parter. To this day, the fake Quicksilver in WandaVision is for me the biggest WTF moment, largely because we didn't see it coming and us all gasped because of the Doomsday buildup. I don't think anything will beat that since we know big stuff is coming, even if we don't know what it is.
It's funny. I think there was one guy who said the whole time, that's not Quicksilver. I think there was oh, that's right. It was me. And everybody called me stupid when I kept saying that. I'm telling you guys, that's not Quicksilver. And everybody called me. You know what it reminds me of? Is when Jonathan in season 4 of Game of Thrones, maybe it was season 5, but I think it was season 4. When I started saying on our Game of Thrones after show, guys, Daenerys is she's going to break bad. They're making it obvious. She's got the Targaryen insanity. She's going to break bad. They're making it obvious. Daenerys keeps using all these things. Oh, I'm the breaker of change. But really, she's all about her, and she's breaking bad. And everybody said, no, John, you don't understand. You don't get it. You just don't get the character, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you can say it all you want, guys. I'm telling you, she's breaking bad. And I said that for years. And then when she broke bad, everybody was like, that came out of nowhere. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I've been telling you for years you could see it coming. Anyway, so yeah. I mean, God, that whole WandaVision thing was so fun. That whole 2 months
I loved it.
that show ran, because not only was the show great fun, but every episode sparked massive amounts of conversation.
Yeah.
Like everybody theorizing and like all these guesses and theories and like, oh, for months we talked about it. It was so good. It was so good. All right, what's next?
Aaron says, "Hey John, we know what happens in Doomsday, but do you know the hows and whys? It could feel too contrived if they aren't nailed properly."
I'm not gonna. Not gonna say anything that could possibly give anything away.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is nothing in it felt contrived.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. I'll just leave it at that. Nothing in it feels contrived.
Yeah. Ben Solo's in it though. That's a little weird. Trevor West says, "Hey John, based on what you know, oh boy, what 3 movies would you okay. What 3 movies would you recommend watching as a good lead into Doomsday? Trying to decide how best to pregame."
All right. Well, I can honestly say I would give this same answer prior to finding out what happens in Doomsday that I would now. Same answer I would give. Infinity War, Endgame,
Yeah.
and probably Civil War. Well, not in that order. Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame.
Right, yeah.
There are many others you could watch as well, but if you're looking for the 3, my guess would be those. But that's the same answer I would have given before I found out what happened in Doomsday.
Yeah. Unless you're just going for recency, then it's just the most recent ones, right? It's like Fantastic Four and
Yeah.
Trevor West. We know that one. Reptarsis. Excited that Lindelof is doing Lanterns. His Watchmen series is one of the best seasons of TV ever. Have you seen his other HBO series, The Leftovers?
I never did watch Leftovers, but I always heard good things about it. I don't think his Watchmen series was one of the greatest seasons of television ever, but I thought it was really damn good. Like, I thought it was better than the Watchmen movie. And so, yes, and listen, I'm generally speaking a big fan of a lot of Lindelof's work. He's made a couple of things I don't like so much, but overall, I really do like his work a lot. And the fact that I think it's a big plus that he's one of the guys. He's not the only guy, but he's one of the main guys working on Lanterns. That gives me a lot of optimism for it. All right, what's next?
Animush says, "Have you played Zero Dawn games? I love them, and the story would translate very well to a series without needing nostalgia from games."
No, I never have. Actually, you know what's funny? I am versed in a lot of games. Some of them because I've played them, but also a bunch of them because I still like hang out with buddies who will hang out while they're playing certain games. So I'll become very well versed in it. Zero Dawn is one I've never seen anybody play.
I've been playing the first one. One thing I would recommend to people is upgrade your weapons, because you can get further into the game, and if you haven't been upgrading your weapons, the enemies are too OP'd. So that's a trap I'm in with that game.
So I'm not, that's one of the few games I really don't know much about it.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's
All
beautiful. Right. Rutger Cole, beautiful art design, I mean. Name him Atreides. You can't have Dune without him. He might be talking about, well, I don't know what he's talking about.
What are you talking about? I mean, that's the family's name, but anyway. All right, what's next?
Joshua says, part 1. Hey, John, big fan of the show.
Thank you so much.
Been listening since the No Way Home spoiler. I'm graduating from Morehouse and starting an investment banking.
Oh, good. Banking.
Yeah, banking.
Investment banking.
Baking is really
the very lucrative field of investment banking.
You put silver dollars in all your
all the muffins.
Yeah. Joshua continues, long term, I want to pivot into studio strategy and producing. Any tips on breaking in? Any studios you're bullish on over the next 5 to 10 years? That's such a investment banker thing to say. Are you bullish on this?
Well, first of all, I often don't understand why people ask me for tips on getting into something I am not, nor have I ever been in. Like, I often get people ask me, any tips on breaking into acting? Am I an actor? Have I broken into acting? I am not qualified. Now, I've been offered studio jobs. Actually, there was one, I think it was probably now about 2 years ago, that Ann and I actually thought really hard about. It was the last one I ever got. But there was about 2 years ago, got this offer from a studio and had to really think about it. Unfortunately, it also would have meant me having to shut down my YouTube channel, because I couldn't have done that and do a YouTube show and pretend to be unbiased in any stretch of the imagination. And quite frankly, I made more money doing my YouTube show than I would have working for a studio. But I mean, I've obviously never worked in the studio system in that way. I mean, I guess I did used to work for Lionsgate.
Yeah, a little, yeah.
When we were doing Comic-Con HQ, I was working for Lionsgate, but that was kind of a separate thing. So honestly, I'm the wrong guy to ask about breaking into that because that's a field I've never been in. So I would have no insight for you whatsoever. As far as studios to keep your eye on, man, honestly, really, A24. I mean, that's the studio that's kind of this little indie, in the shadows kind of studio that is very quickly becoming a major player. So they're one I would keep my eye on.
Yeah, you want to talk about compounding interest, A24, that's it right there.
All right, what's next?
Hollow Lore, Dark Winds Tribe, Cop in 1971, season 4, episode 1, out. It's good. Dark Winds Tribe. I haven't heard of it.
I have no idea what we're talking about, unfortunately.
Yeah. Let us know where you're streaming that or watching it.
All right, what's next?
Michael Frank with a $20 super chat.
Oh, thank you, Michael.
Hey, John, when you come to Michigan for your movie meetup tour, I hope you can do the Metro Detroit area. It's now a goal of mine to enjoy cinema, one of my favorite cinema.
To enjoy cinema with one of my favorite.
Oh, with
YouTubers.
one. Yeah. Love you guys. Appreciate all you do.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we haven't hit Michigan yet. I don't know where we'll go when we go to Michigan. We haven't really sat down and looked at the maps and all that kind of stuff yet. Detroit's a possibility, maybe not. But again, it's kind of like Ohio. We know we're going to Ohio. Haven't picked the city that we're going to go to yet. No, we're definitely going to hit Michigan. Just don't know what city we're going to hit yet. But once we get into like April, we'll start making those announcements. Keep your eyes open. All right, what's next?
Michael continues. Also wanted to say it's going to suck when you retire because the community you were able to build around movies is amazing and so thankful to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, actually, we had our channel member town hall meeting. If you're a channel member and weren't able to make it there and are interested in what we talked about, it's on the YouTube channel. You can see it if you're a channel member. We talked about that a little bit, about how my retirement plans changed. And right now I don't really have an exact, and I know I'm still going to retire early. But like with all the new deals and everything, not exactly sure when that's going to be yet. So it's not going to be anytime in the immediate future. So like I'll still be doing this by the time Secret Wars comes out. I don't know how much far beyond that, but I'll still at least be doing this by the time Secret Wars comes out. All right, what's next?
Kato Duck says, not sure if you've covered this, but as a proud Canadian, please tell me you've watched Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. Best film of the year to date.
No, I actually, until somebody wrote in about it the other day, I
Recently.
never even heard about it.
Yeah.
So no, I still don't know anything about it, unfortunately. All right, what's next?
Starboy says, thoughts on the rumor going around about Kiernan Shipka joining Brand New Day as Gwen Stacy?
Well, we mentioned it a little bit on our In Other News segment yesterday. I don't know if I buy the validity of it. I don't know that I buy it, but I will say this. She looks like she'd be she looks like a Gwen Stacy. She totally does. I still don't know that I buy the rumor though. All right, what's next?
Trollmageddon says, John, can you use your connections to get 4K Blu-ray discs back into Best Buy? The video and sound are superior to streaming. For God's sake, help. Hey,
No,
be glad.
it's really not.
Be glad we have a Best Buy still.
Yeah, and it's really not superior. Look, there's a reality in this. I forget who it was that did the study, but they laid out really shortly. Now, yes, if you have a big TV and you sit real close to it, you'll probably notice the difference. But the reality is the human eye can't decipher the difference depending on the size of the screen and the distance you sit from it. Your eye can't discern the difference between it. And I am not a guy, I don't really care at all about physical media. I gave up on physical media 15 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. Yeah. It was a little after I moved to LA. I ditched and gave up on physical media 12 years ago. So you're asking the wrong guy to champion. I think the sooner it's gone, the better, but whatever. That's just me. All right. What's next?
Sam Jack says, after Secret Wars, will the X-Men movies become the big event films to end the phases? Will they keep doing Avengers or will they do both?
I don't think they're going to do X-Men movies
as like the phase
as
ender.
the big event films. I think they're going to do more regular X-Men movies.
Yeah. Think Thunderbolts and stuff like that. Like you just have these.
Yeah, I think you're going to
And
have. I
Guardians.
don't think there's going to be like a Storm movie and a Wolverine movie and a Beast movie and a Bobby Drake movie and whatever movie and then an X-Men movie. I don't think they're going to do it that way.
Right.
I don't know that they're not doing it that way. I'm just guessing. I could be totally wrong. I'm just speculating like an average fan. But I think it's going to be more normal rather than the X-Men movies being I think they're probably going to get an X-Men movie every 1 or 2 years. But again, I don't know that. I'm just guessing. All right, what's next?
2 more. Excuse me. Joe Adonis says, "Hi guys. Are you a read a book or listen to the audiobook kind of guy? Or are you one of the weird ones who, like me, reads the book while listening to the audio?" That's not a bad idea. Can't wait for Project Hail Mary. I go back and forth because sometimes I enjoy the quietness of just a book, but I definitely love audiobooks.
Yeah, for me, it's audiobooks, to be honest with you, because then I can be driving and listening to them.
Mm-hmm.
I can be on the treadmill and listening to them. I can be out on walks and listen to them. What's really great too is like when we're doing our trips in the van, because we'll have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours in the van, have the audiobook and do that. So it's just a much more convenient way for me to get through them. So and now I still have a couple of books that I'm going through, but my preferred way is audiobook personally.
All right, final one, 2-parter from DJ Info. When The Martian lost to The Revenant for Best Picture, I felt the better movie lost. Maybe because it's sci-fi, I feel The Martian has lasted longer in people's conversations. If so, does that make it a better movie? I think what The Revenant achieved was astounding.
Yeah, I think they got it right. I do. And I love The Martian.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think The Martian gets brought up way more than The Revenant does. I think recently it has because we've got Project Hail Mary coming. So there's obviously going to be a lot of talk about it and comparisons to it because it's by the same writer, same screenwriter, same novel writer, all that kind of stuff. But no, I love The Martian. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be one of the guys who says, no, I think they got it right when they gave Best Picture to The Revenant. I think they got it right.
Yeah.
And all right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Big thanks, of course, to Robert Meyer Burnett, our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
See you guys down the road.
My name's John Campea, and until tomorrow, my friends, bye-bye.